Hello, my name is Dark Doll, and today I'm going to have the show, which is called Upcycled, Recycled, Wearable Art. Recycled, Wearable Art is a show that I like to do every now and then and show you the creations that I've been making using recycled fabrics from old clothing, old shirts, and then making them into new wearable pieces of clothing that you can wear. So today I want to give you an update on that one dress I've been working on. It's like the hippie gypsy type of dress, goddess dress that I've been working on for quite a while. For, I don't know, maybe over 3 years. Who's counting, right? So, but anyway, yeah, I wanted to give you a show you a little bit of what I've done to it since I haven't showed you in a bit. And I'm also going to work on it a little bit, and that'll be fun, and I'll talk to you while I do so. I know this is kind of a close corners here, but I'll try to see if I can show you what I've been doing with it. I finally finished that back part of it with the 4 flowers on it. If you guys remember it, look back at the past videos. I'm sorry if the video quality isn't the best or the lighting isn't the best, but that's the back of it. I finished those flowers, and I even outlined her dreadlocks, the goddess's dreadlocks, on here. So the newest thing I've been doing is I added this to it. Where's the other side? It's this side. So I added, let's see, this way. So I add what is called a pentagram on this side right here. A pentagram is not evil. A pentagram is a sign of protection. A pentagram wasn't even originally a Wiccan pagan sign. It actually belonged to another race of people, not specifically European, or as most people think, Druid. It goes back even further than that. And I could do more. I could do a video talking just about that. But I just want to clear that up because a lot of people see the pentagram as evil. That's because Hollywood has made it so. They put the pentagram upside down, inverted, in so many things, like in horror movies, do all kinds of things with the pentagram to make you think that it's an evil symbol, but it's not an evil symbol. It's not. So it's a symbol of protection. It's a symbol that represents the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and also, well, actually 5 elements. Earth, air, fire, water, and also represents spirit. So it's not an evil symbol whatsoever. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is putting the pentagram on this side. And if we have time, I'll put one on the other side. Pretty much I'm trying to balance it off with patterns on either side so that it's a more balanced piece of wearable art. So basically what I'm going to do is find my golden thread and lay it down here. I hope you guys are having a productive day. Today for me is Saturday. I have definitely, let me grab my box full of sewing materials and my scissors and the needle and thread. So this is the color I'm using. It's embroidery thread. You can use regular thread, polyester thread, cotton thread. I'm using embroidery thread, kind of a silky embroidery thread, because I like the look of it. Sometimes the silky embroidery thread can be very slippery. Sometimes it's hard to put through a needle, so but I manage. So I'm going to have to cut this thread off of here. There's black thread left on here. Let's cut that off. I won't. If I find a needle that I need to use and there's still thread on it, I'll cut the thread out, but I won't throw the thread away. I'll save the thread so I can reuse it. And I try to reuse as much as I can. I can't. Some things you just can't reuse, but I try to. There was a comment on one of my videos a while back asking me why am I being so thrifty? Why am I saving all these scraps of fabric and using them? The reason why is because a lot of these fabrics can be made out of materials that can't break down into the earth. Like, for instance, polyester. It's made with a lot of plastics in it. So I get some of these fabrics I'm using have a lot of polyester, or 100% polyester. So I'm doing my part by not just chucking it into the trash, because You chuck these kind of things in the trash can, and then what ends up happening is they end up into a landfill, and it just creates more problems, you know? So that's why. Where did I put that needle? It's always a good idea to have. It's always a good idea to have your. What was I gonna say? It's always a good idea to have your needles and your pin cushions nearby, because if you don't, then you'll lose your needles. Let me grab my needle. So, yeah, that's why I do this. That's why I save what I do, because there's so much waste in the world, and when there's so much waste in the world, why would you add to that? You know, why not try to do the best you can to save as much as you can? You know, and not destroy the planet more than we already have. So that's my point. I already have some thread out. Hold on. It's a hot day, so might be cooking my head a little bit. Let me grab some more water. Alright. Here's the needle. If you actually need to learn how to thread a needle, you can look at my past videos where I show how to do that. Some basic, simple sewing tips that you can use. I made that video because someone asked me to. I don't want to assume that people don't know how to thread a needle, and I don't want to assume that people do know how to thread a needle. So it's fairly easy. You just have to be really steady, and also it helps if the eye of the needle is big. If it's really tiny, it's hard to thread it, especially if you're new at sewing, at hand sewing specifically. People have asked me, why do you hand sew? Well, I hand sew because I don't, first, for one thing, I don't have a sewing machine. Number two, I never really learned how to really get good on a sewing machine. And number three, when I sew by hand, I feel really connected to what I'm doing. I feel like my energy is going directly into the clothing because my hands are so directly involved, other than with a sewing machine. I don't think there's anything wrong with using a sewing machine, but if you don't have a sewing machine like I don't, you could find that hand embroidery can be very relaxing, and hand sewing just in general can be very relaxing. There's a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of stress from their days at work, and they could use something they could do that'll relax them and maybe help them with problem solving with things in their life. A lot of people are being led towards doing something that calms them after work, and a lot of people are not satisfied with just coming home, drinking a beer, and watching the game. You know what I mean? Seeing how the way this world is, you know, people are starting to get more real with what's going on, and realizing that a lot of their habits that they do every day are not fulfilling, and they're not relaxing. A lot of it can be really tension filled. So if you could find something relaxing to do after you get off from work, instead of just going into the same routine of turning the television on and zoning out in front of they used to call it the idiot box, in front of the mind control box, then that's awesome. It'll be great for your peace of mind. I do still watch certain TV shows. Like recently, I started watching Luke Cage. I watched the first season, but now I'm on the second season. A lot of times when I watch television, TV programs, I'm more aware of a lot of the things that are going on in there. They use a lot of symbolism, a lot of things are going on in TV shows these days. I feel like a lot of things that aren't even really necessary, that distracts from the main subject matter or theme of whatever episode it is. You know, they gotta throw something extra in there that I feel like is irrelevant. But yeah, I do still watch some TV shows like that, or don't watch really a lot of TV shows. I'm not a mainstream person. tell you the truth. I'm not into like what's the new TV show on now. No, I don't even have cable. The only thing I have is Hulu and Netflix. So I don't have all of those choices, and I don't want all those choices because a lot of that shit I don't even want to watch. It's just crap. So much crap out. There's more and more crap. And they keep remaking shit all over it again, you know, going back to the 80s and pulling things out and remaking it. Like they're making, what are they remaking? They're supposed to be remaking, what was it? I wanted to say The Craft, but that's the movie. But I'm thinking of something else. They're supposed to be making, it's like one of my bag of paper bees is going to fall. If you hear something fall, don't be alarmed. But they're supposed to be remaking that TV show called Charmed. And I'm like, why? Why are you remaking that? I did watch all of the seasons and all the episodes. But I told you it's going to fall. All the seasons and all the episodes, I watched them. I even have them on, I have a box set of them. I think the only reason why I got into watching that show because it was the only show that I found that was on television that actually dealt with supernatural, paranormal, and magic all together in one show, and metaphysics. And they showed witches in a different light than they usually do in Hollywood movies, especially like horror movies. In horror movies, a lot of times the witch is evil. She's out to do you no harm. But if you remove the word witch out of the picture and just see what it is that these people are doing, they're basically doing things which people see are equated to magic. And what is magic? What do you think magic is? It means some people go, oh, that's evil. People are, they're doing spells and curses and hexing people. Not all witches are doing that. I've met a lot of witches in my time, and all the witches that I've met aren't into hexing people because they realize that what you put out into the world is what comes back. So they don't have to waste their time and energy on hexing somebody. So, I mean, if that's something that you do, that you hex people, that's something that you do. I'm not going to get into a conversation or debate about that. But a lot of witches that I've met don't bother with that because when someone does something evil to you, malicious, just downright horrible, it comes back to them maybe more than threefold. I mean, the Wiccans have that threefold rule. Everything you do comes back to you times 3. Maybe even worse than times 3. So it's best not to feel like you have to like go off and seek revenge on somebody, because you might get yourself in more of a mess than you feel like you started off at being in. What you could do is protect yourself. You know, do things to protect yourself. Clean your environment, smudge your environment. Work on doing things that make you happy and feeling satisfied within your world. And healing yourself, that helps too. And when you're working on healing yourself and you're just doing nothing but positive things for yourself to better yourself, you're not going to really want to have time for all that petty bullshit, you know, of hexes and all this kind of stuff. I remember somebody wanted me to do a spell for them to get someone to care about them and love them. And that's not right, to try to force your will on somebody else, especially when it comes to someone's emotions and their heart. You know, it's not good to try to control people in that way. If someone doesn't love you for who you are already, a spell is not going to make it better. If it does take and this person starts coming towards you more and showing you affection and love, it may be good in the beginning, but it'll get worse as time goes on, because this person is loving you not by that person's control, him or her's control. It's you controlling that person. So it'll never be totally authentic, an authentic, true love. It'll be just something built out of control, you controlling the other person. And that's not healthy whatsoever. So I don't believe in doing that. So some people do, but I'm not here to try to tell people what to do. I'm just saying that's something I don't do personally. And a lot of times people just equate that with witches. The witches are all alike, and they always wear the pentagram because they're evil, and the pentagram's evil. The pentagram is not evil. It's what people do with the sign. It's kind of like saying, how can I compare this? Guess that's not really a good comparison. I was going to say, well, maybe the gun's not evil, but it's how people use the gun. But the gun was created to kill people, so so that's not really a good comparison. Yeah. So I'm quite a little ways away on the pentagram on this dress. I'm going to use some more of this thread. I can show you what I've done so far while I've been talking to you. And this is on one of the sleeves of the dress, the pagan hippie dress. So that's how it's coming along so far. So, and if you do your research even more, you'll learn more about the pentagram itself. And a lot of times when people see the pentagram upside down, they automatically think of the devil. You know, do your research, people, really. Check out the origins of a lot of these symbols and signs, because they weren't always what Hollywood wants you to think that they were. So, as time goes on, more and more truth is being brought out. And a lot of these lies were spread by the Christian church. Seriously. And I know a lot of Christians may not want to hear me say that, but it has been. Christianity is not as old of a religion as some people may think. Before Christianity was invented, you had indigenous people on their land using these symbols for the betterment of their world and not to harm other people, but to help. So everything's been twisted around so much as far as what these symbols mean. So for instance, like the swastika, and I did a video about this on the Productive Cannabis Connoisseur channel. The swastika itself wasn't evil, and it wasn't a Nazi symbol in the beginning. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with Germany. So definitely do your research about these symbols. A lot of people won't want to use some of these symbols because the meanings have been warped so much. And when the meaning has been warped so much, people feel like that symbol is evil, and if I use it, evil things will happen to me. So it's sad how symbols have been, certain symbols that were benign and positive are now like evil, and connected, like the swastika connected with an event, you know, that wasn't a positive one. You know what I mean? So it's really crazy how these symbols can be, the meanings of them, people just twist them to fit their own agendas. You see that a lot in pop culture, where people are sporting the pentagram and putting up, you know, certain signs and everything like that. They don't even know the origin of all of this. You see nowadays people taking photos, giving you the finger. Everybody, I just finished a marathon, they're smiling, giving you the finger. Well, nowadays the finger means fuck you, right? But in other cultures it means something else, and something completely different. We just basically, in America, we've stolen a lot of these symbols and changed them to fit our own agendas. America is not as great of a place as most people think that it is. It isn't. We're busy like taking other cultures and a lot of times perverting the meanings, changing them altogether so that they can be seen, these symbols can be not seen the way that they used to be. It's just sad when that happens. Because that happened, a lot of people are getting misinformation. And they're just believing whatever someone says without doing any research or going back in time in history to really find out the true meaning of these symbols. And a lot of these symbols may not have originated where you think they originated. That's the thing, is when you go into regular public school, they'll give you, the perspective on this world that they want you to have. And then when you get out of the institution, because I feel like school is an institution, when you get out of that institution, then you got to unlearn all the things that you learned in school, and they're brainwashing you. I mean, if you're a black person, African American person, and you're in a school and they're teaching you all this stuff about history, black history, and they only give you a tidbit of things, like only tell you about the mainstream ones, Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, who's that one lady that created the hair relaxer? Madam C.J. Walker, and I did a video about her. These are people that aren't what they seem. They weren't what they seemed back in the day. And if you did your research, you'd know that. And they made these people as a prime focus for being heroes for black Americans, for Black History Month. They roll out the same people over and over again. You don't hear about any of the other people, the brave souls, African Americans that were here on this earth and are now dead. When they talk about Malcolm X, a lot of times in history, they've never talked about Malcolm X in history class, ever, in any school that I've gone to. It's always been about Martin Luther King Jr. And then when I started finding out info, or trying to find info about Malcolm X, they just made him seem like he was some sort of radical black supremacist. So they didn't really give much more info about him. They just want you to idolize who they want you to idolize, and that's it. They want you to believe in the symbols that they want you to believe in. That's what America is about. And a lot of people will disagree with me on this because, for one, they haven't really done any research, and they just take for granted what everybody says or what the history book says. What history books are you looking at, really? If you think about it. Who are they written by? Who are these history books written by? So, I just don't feel like people should take whatever someone says as truth automatically. Just because they're a teacher, they got their PhD and all this other shit, people just feel like, oh, this person is more qualified to have this knowledge to present to me, for me to believe in. And this is not true. I feel like people need to empower themselves and learn about learn about true history on their own. Because a lot of these schools, they build a curriculum based on what they want you to learn and how they want you to see this world. A lot of teachers have this curriculum that they have to follow. A lot of these teachers are just doing what they get paid to do and follow this curriculum. So if a young black girl in their class says, but is there any other, heroes as far as black history goes other than Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and all that? If you say something like that, then you're seen as evil, the devil or something, because you question them. And you can't question people, you can't question teachers too much, because they're following this curriculum and they don't know what to say. They have planned out what they're going to say for what they're teaching, and that's it. So, and a lot of times what's presented to you is only half truth or not truth at all. So a lot of times people are just doing what they can to pass the test, and so they can move on to the next grade. Whether they believe in what they've been taught or not is a whole nother story. So it was frustrating for me in school You know, I went through all the grades, graduated high school, got the diploma. I didn't even go to the graduation because I felt like it was bullshit. You know, I just felt like it was bullshit. And then I went to community college, and I couldn't continue with that because I had to work full time to support myself. You know, and it feels like a racket. School, especially when you start paying for it. When you're not paying for it, it's very mediocre learning. When you are paying for it, you really pay for it in the end. With, like, if people get student loans and things like that, they go in debt with that, and they may get into the career they were trained for, but they're still paying off debt, and they're miserable because they didn't expect that to happen. But like in a lot of these schools, whether it's a regular community college or whether it's a university, they're just still going to teach you what they're going to teach you based on their curriculum, and they don't want to stray from that, even though you're paying for that shit. So that's how I feel about school. I feel like we can school ourselves through learning. I mean, there's so many books out there, so many resources available that we don't need to go into a facility and go into debt. Let alone a lot of people who can't even have the time to take a class because they work all the time. And when you work all the time, by the time you get home from work, you can barely think, especially a lot of the jobs that people have these days. When I had a customer service job, there's no fucking way I wanted to get off from work and then go to school and take a class. You know, I remember my mother-in-law telling me I should go back to school a long time ago, and it's never too late. And I'm just kind of like, I wanted to be nice because she meant well, you know. But here's the thing, it's not easy. It's not easy to work a full-time job and go to school. It's not. And then if you have other responsibilities on top of that, you can't have time to go to school. And even if you do take classes or sign up for classes, when are you gonna have time to read and study for the tests, do the homework, all that shit? You're not gonna have time for that if you have a full-time freaking job. So anyway, this is how the pentagram is turning out so far on here. I think it's turning out pretty good. We're at the 27-minute mark, so I'm going to close this video up and show you. I'll stand up and see if I can show you from here how this is turning out so far. This outfit it's coming together organically. We got part of the chain got attached to some thread, but it's coming together organically, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Let me stand up and see if I can show you the part that I've been working on and the other part of the dress that I've been finishing. So I don't know. This isn't really a good vantage point of it, I guess, but it's the best I can do right now for today. Show you the side where the star is. It's kind of faint right now, but yeah. I'll also be taking more photographs of this dress so you can see more of the detail in it, and I'll put it up on my Instagram. And my Instagram is www.instagram.com/darkmoondoll, so you can check it out over there. But yeah, I wanted to give you an update on this dress that I've been working on for quite a while. And I've been enjoying every process, every stitch of the process. It's been really nice, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this and talking about certain things while I make it, because these are things I think about when I'm creating art. There's so many people that are being pressured to go back to school, but what they don't realize is it's not that easy to just do that. And a lot of people don't want to go back to school. They just go back to school because people are telling them to. Or they think they can get like training for a more lucrative job where they can get paid more money, and then but they still have to be at that same job before they get another job. So it's like the struggle's endless anyway. Is the message there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this this little talk session with this hippie this hippie gypsy type of goddess dress. Definitely going to put it on my shop for sale, and when I do, I'll let you guys know. I'm going to be putting a zipper in there, probably on the side soon, once I get all the designs done on here. It's just still not done yet, of course. It still has a lot to go, but it's come far away from what it used to look like in the beginning. So if you want to, you can check out the past videos where I'm working on this dress, and it's so much fun. Alrighty guys, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for the likes and shares, and thank you for your kind comments. Leave your comments down below and let me know if you're doing anything creative as far as wearable art, upcycling and recycling, because that's what I like to promote on my chat. When I do art on this channel, I want to show you guys how you can recycle a lot of things you wouldn't think you could recycle, because there's so much waste in this world. I'm tired of people wasting things if they don't have to. So yeah, thanks for joining me. If you'd like to subscribe, if you'd like to subscribe to this channel, you can. If you'd like to support this channel, you can donate $1 or more to my PayPal at kdaddytmama@comcast.net, and you can provide to me a question you'd like to see answered on an upcoming show, and I'll answer it on an upcoming show, and I'll also provide a little bit of research along with it to show my appreciation. It's not necessary for you to do that in order to watch the videos on this channel. It's just that people are asking, and that's one way you can support this channel. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for joining me today. Brightest blessings to you all, and I'll see you soon.